Hey there, and welcome to the legendary nights of the 1970s. Today, we're opening the doors to New York's most famous nightclub. Studio 54 celebrities, dazzling lights, packed dance floors, and unforgettable parties. This wasn't just a club, it was an icon that captured the spirit of the 70s. So, who was actually at Studio 54? What kind of energy did the music and dancing create? And what's surprising, sometimes funny stories happen behind the scenes. We're going to uncover it all, step by step. Get ready, the lights are on and the party's about to begin. Let's take a journey straight into the heart of the 70s. Studio 54 was more than just a nightclub, it was the ultimate celebrity playground of the 1970s. Imagine now, stepping into a place where Bianca Jagger famously arrived on a white horse, turning every head in the room, while Andy Warhol moved through the crowd, sketchbook in hand, capturing the energy of the night. Liza Minnelli would dance for hours under the sparkling disco lights, bringing her own legendary flair to the scene. The list of who's who at Studio 54 reads like a who's who of 1970s pop culture. Mick Jagger, Cher, Grace Jones, Calvin Klein, Halston, and countless others. Each celebrity brought their own style, drama, and personality, making every night unpredictable and electrifying. Getting past the velvet ropes wasn't easy. Entry was a status symbol, a ticket into a world that only the elite could fully enjoy. But it wasn't just about looking glamorous or being seen. There were countless stories of playful pranks between stars, impromptu dance-offs, and spontaneous performances that left the crowd cheering. One night, a famous singer might burst into a song mid-party. Another night, a designer might organize a mini fashion show right on the dance floor. Studio 54 was a living stage, a place where celebrities could escape the public eye yet still be themselves in the most dramatic and extravagant ways. The energy was contagious, and even the staff and bartenders became part of the spectacle. Every night promised a new surprise, a new legendary moment, and that's why the club became the ultimate symbol of 1970s glamour, freedom and excess. For anyone who was lucky enough to be inside, Studio 54 wasn't just a place, it was an unforgettable experience, a memory that would last a lifetime, and a reminder of a decade that defined cool. Studio 54 wasn't just a place to see celebrities, it was the heartbeat of 1970s dance and music culture. The moment you stepped inside, the thumping disco beats grabbed your attention. The glittering lights reflected off mirrored walls, and the energy was absolutely electric. DJs like Nicky Siano and Richie Kaka didn't just play music, they created experiences blending disco, funk, and soul into a non-stop celebration that kept the dance floor alive until dawn. Disco was more than a genre, it was a lifestyle. Studio 54 defined it. People didn't just dance, they expressed themselves with wild outfits, flashy shoes, and bold moves that mirrored the freedom of the era. Popular dance styles like the hustle and funky freestyle movements became iconic, signatures of the club's vibe. Everyone from professional dancers to fashion models joined in, creating a spectacle that was as visually stunning as it was musically immersive. And the music wasn't only about rhythm, it was about moments. A well-timed bass drop could send the crowd into a frenzy, while a sudden song switch could spark impromptu dance-offs among celebrities. Imagine Cher and Liza, Minnelli spinning across the floor to I Will Survive, or Grace Jones captivating everyone with her daring moves, all while Andy Warhol observed, occasionally documenting the scene with his Polaroid camera. But Studio 54 wasn't just about the big hits. DJs experimented with mashups and extended mixes that kept the energy flowing, making every night feel unique. Sometimes a track would start, and a spontaneous conga line would form, snaking its way through the dance floor, while glitter, smoke, and strobe lights created a truly otherworldly experience. In Studio 54, music and dance weren't just entertainment, they were a way of life. The club transformed every visitor into part of a larger celebration, a collective experience that defined an era, celebrated individuality, and created memories that would last decades. Every beat, every twirl, and every dance move was a reminder that Studio 54 wasn't just a club, it was the ultimate stage for the spirit of the Nakafitsu. Studio 54 wasn't just about celebrities, dazzling lights, and non-stop music. It was also a hub for some of the wildest, funniest, and downright surprising stories of the 1970s. Behind the glamour and glitter, the club was a playground for creativity, spontaneity, and sometimes chaos. One famous story tells of a night when Bianca Jagger, known for her dramatic entrances, arrived on a white horse inside the club. Guests were stunned. Some laughed, others cheered, and photographers scrambled to capture the moment. That was just the tip of the iceberg. Then there were the impromptu pranks. Mick Jagger was rumored to hide behind curtains to scare unsuspecting partygoers, while Grace Jones might suddenly leap onto a table and start performing, leaving everyone else scrambling to join the fun. Even the bartenders and doormen sometimes became part of the act, tossing confetti or lighting up the dance floor with theatrical flair. Fashion mishaps and bold choices also created memorable moments. Sequins, feathers, platform shoes, and glitter weren't just fashion, they were statements. One night, a famous designer's outfit got caught in the revolving door, causing laughter throughout the club, yet somehow it became part of the legend of that evening. Studio 54 was also home to quirky competitions, from spontaneous dance-offs to who could outshine the rest with the most outrageous moves. The energy was competitive in the most playful way, and sometimes the surprises were more intimate. Friends would secretly coordinate surprise appearances, or musicians might jam on instruments they weren't known for, creating unforgettable mini-performances. These stories, while amusing and sometimes unbelievable, capture the essence of Studio 54, a place where rules were flexible, imagination ran wild, and every night promised a new, unpredictable adventure. For anyone lucky enough to experience it, the club wasn't just a place to party. It was a living, breathing storybook of laughter, surprises, and pure 1970s magic. Studio 54 wasn't just a nightclub. It was a runway, a stage, and a living museum of 1970s fashion. The club set the tone for what was cool, daring, and absolutely unforgettable. Everyone wanted to stand out, and there were no rules when it came to style. Sequins, metallic fabrics, flowing dresses, and bell-bottom pants weren't just clothing. They were statements of freedom and individuality. Celebrities led the charge. Bianca Jagger's iconic white pantsuit and flowing blouse, Grace Jones's bold, edgy ensembles, and Liza Minnelli's glamorous gowns weren't just outfits, they were performances in their own right. Every arrival was a spectacle, and photographers were ready to capture the moment. Guests dressed as extravagantly as possible, often taking fashion risks that wouldn't be seen anywhere else in the world. Shoes, accessories, and hairstyles were just as important as the clothes. Platform shoes that seemed impossible to walk in, glittering jewelry, feathered headpieces, and oversized sunglasses were all part of the visual language of Studio 54. Hair was big, makeup was dramatic, and the more glitter, the better. Even everyday items were turned into bold fashion statements, showing the creativity and inventiveness of the era. But Studio 54's style wasn't just about glamour. It was about self-expression. The club became a place where people could experiment with their identity, try out new looks, and embrace the eccentric. Men wore jumpsuits, women wore sparkly pantsuits, and everyone was free to blend genres, colors, and textures in ways that reflected the daring spirit of the 70s. Ultimately, fashion at Studio 54 was a reflection of the music, the energy, and the freedom that defined the nightclub. Every outfit told a story. Every bold choice created a memory. And walking through those doors felt like stepping into a world where style had no limits. For anyone who experienced it, Studio 54 wasn't just about dancing. It was about showing up, expressing yourself, and becoming part of the legend. Step inside Studio 54, and you didn't just enter a nightclub, You entered another world. The atmosphere was electric, charged with anticipation, energy, and a sense of limitless possibility. From the moment you crossed the velvet ropes, the club transported you to a place where music, lights, and people fused into one unforgettable experience. Lighting played a huge role in creating the magic. Strobe lights pulsed to the beat of the music. Disco balls spun overhead, scattering glittering reflections across the dance floor. And colored spotlights danced across walls and ceilings. Fog machines added an ethereal layer, making every movement and outfit shimmer in a dreamlike glow. It wasn't just illumination. It was a carefully orchestrated show, designed to make every moment feel larger than life. The interior design added to the allure. Plush seating, mirrored walls, and sparkling decor created a sense of glamour and exclusivity. Every corner had its own vibe. Intimate lounges for quiet conversation, a crowded dance floor for energetic displays, and elevated areas where celebrities and VIPs could watch the party unfold. Even the bar was more than just a place for drinks, it was a stage for social interaction, unexpected performances and playful antics. And then there was the crowd itself. The energy of the guests amplified the atmosphere, creating a feedback loop of excitement. Laughter, cheers, and spontaneous applause merged with the music, making every night feel alive, unpredictable and immersive. Studio 54 wasn't just a place to see and be seen. It was a sensory experience, a celebration of freedom, creativity, and the sheer joy of being in the moment. In short, the atmosphere and lighting of Studio 54 were as legendary as the celebrities who frequented it. They transformed the club into a space where reality seemed suspended, and every guest became part of a living, breathing spectacle of 1970s magic. While the celebrities and dazzling fashion caught everyone's eyes, the DJs at Studio 54 were the real masters of the night. They didn't just play records, they controlled the energy, orchestrated the vibe, and turned the club into a living, breathing musical experience. DJs like Nicky Siano, Richie Caxo, and Larry Levan became legends, known for their skill in mixing, timing, and reading the crowd. Every night was a performance, a subtle change in tempo, a perfectly timed bass drop, or a sudden transition could ignite the entire dance floor. The DJs were experts at blending disco, funk, soul, and even early electronic sounds to keep the energy flowing. Extended mixes and creative mashups meant that every night felt unique. No two parties were ever the same. The DJ booth wasn't just a technical space, it was a stage. Celebrities and regular guests alike would gather nearby, watching the DJ spin records like a magician performing a live show. Sometimes the DJs would even interact with the crowd, shouting encouragement, calling out famous guests, or dropping surprise tracks that sent everyone into a frenzy. And it wasn't all smooth sailing. Behind the glamour, there were stories of last-minute equipment problems, creative disagreements, and spontaneous improvisations that somehow added to the excitement. When the music kept the crowd moving despite these challenges, it reinforced the sense that Studio 54 was a place of magic, unpredictability, and sheer joy. Ultimately, the DJs weren't just playing songs. They were creating an atmosphere, guiding the night's narrative, and ensuring that every moment on the dance floor felt like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. At Studio 54, the music didn't just accompany the party, it defined it. Studio 54 wasn't just a club, it was a stage for unforgettable moments, many of them funny, surprising, and completely unexpected. Behind the glitter and glamour, the celebrities who frequented the club were known for their playful antics and larger-than-life personalities. Take Bianca Jagger, for instance. Arriving on a white horse wasn't just about making a grand entrance. It set the tone for the night, inspiring other guests to outdo each other in creativity and flair. Then there was Mick Jagger, who loved to play harmless pranks, hiding behind curtains or startling friends on the dance floor. Laughter and cheers were just as common as music, creating an atmosphere where spontaneity ruled. Grace Jones, known for her bold style and daring performances, often turned casual moments into show-stopping events. Whether it was jumping onto tables, leading impromptu conga lines, or posing dramatically under the disco lights, she kept everyone on their toes. Even the bartenders and staff weren't safe from the playful chaos, sometimes becoming participants in mini performances or being roped into silly games. And Studio 54 had its share of quirky traditions. Guests would challenge each other to see who could wear the most outrageous outfit, show the wildest dance move, or come up with the funniest entrance. These moments, while seemingly trivial, contributed to the legendary reputation of the club and the era. It was these fun, unexpected memories that made Studio 54 more than just a nightclub. It was a place where creativity, humor, and freedom collided, and where celebrities could let their guard down, laugh, and be themselves in ways the public rarely saw. For anyone who experienced it, the club was an endless source of stories, some unbelievable, some hilarious, but all unforgettable. Studio 54 wasn't just a nightclub. It was a cultural phenomenon that captured the imagination of an entire generation. Beyond the glittering dance floors, celebrity appearances, and wild parties, the club became a symbol of freedom, self-expression, and the breaking of social norms. In the late 1970s, few places dared to offer such an open, electrifying environment, and Studio 54 became the epicenter of a social revolution. The influence of the club stretched far beyond New York City. Fashion trends that emerged on its dance floor were replicated across the United States. Disco, funk, and soul music from Studio 54 nights shaped radio playlists and inspired new musical genres. Artists, designers, and even filmmakers looked to the club for inspiration, trying to capture its energy and excitement in their own work. People from Los Angeles to Miami wanted a taste of that glamorous, extravagant lifestyle, and Studio 54 became synonymous with aspiration and cool. But Studio 54 wasn't just about style and music, it was about inclusivity. The club welcomed people from all walks of life, men and women experimenting with fashion, artists expressing themselves freely, and individuals embracing identities that society often restricted elsewhere. It was a place where creativity thrived, where self-expression was celebrated, and where societal norms could be challenged in the most playful, joyful ways. The club became a sanctuary for those seeking freedom in both appearance and behavior. Media attention amplified its impact. Magazines, television shows, and countless articles chronicled the most outrageous nights, immortalizing the club in public imagination. Photographs of celebrities, glittering outfits, and electric dance floors became iconic images of the decade. Studio 54 was more than a location. It was a story, a legend, and a living, breathing snapshot of late 1970s culture. Even decades later, its influence resonates. Modern music videos, fashion editorials, films, and pop culture references continue to draw inspiration from the audacious style, energy, and atmosphere of Studio 54. The club's legacy reminds us that nightlife isn't just entertainment, it can shape trends, inspire individuality, and create moments that echo through time. In short, Studio 54 was more than a party, it was a social and cultural landmark. It broke boundaries, celebrated creativity, and captured the spirit of a decade that demanded expression, flamboyance, and above all, freedom. Its story continues to inspire anyone who dares to dream big, dance freely, and live boldly. Studio 54 wasn't just a nightclub, it was a runway, and the celebrities who walked through its doors became instant fashion icons. Every arrival was a statement, a spectacle, and often a trend-setting moment that reverberated far beyond the club's walls. Take Bianca Jagger, for example. Her legendary white pantsuit and flowing blouse weren't just outfits, they were performances in motion, commanding attention and inspiring countless fans and fashion enthusiasts. Grace Jones turned edgy, avant-garde style into her signature, pushing boundaries with bold cuts, daring colors, and dramatic silhouettes that became synonymous with fearlessness. Liza Minnelli's sparkling gowns, oversized bows, and sequined jumpsuits made her a beacon of glamour and showmanship. Studio 54 was a place where creativity had no limits. Guests experimented with glitter, feathers, platform shoes, and metallic fabrics, creating looks that were daring, playful, and utterly unforgettable. Men wore jumpsuits, brightly patterned shirts, and wide collars, while women embraced bold patterns, sequins, and exaggerated accessories. Every ensemble was a reflection of individuality, confidence, and the spirit of freedom that defined the 1970s. But the fashion at Studio 54 wasn't just about standing out, it was about storytelling. Each outfit told a story about personality, mood, and daring self-expression. Celebrities weren't just attending a party, they were performing art through clothing, turning every entrance, every spin on the dance floor, and every pose into a moment that would be photographed, remembered, and talked about for years to come. Even beyond the celebrities, Studio 54 inspired everyone who stepped inside. Ordinary guests took fashion risks, blending textures, colors, and accessories in ways that reflected their personalities. The club became a living museum of style, where trends were born, and the audacity to be different was celebrated above all else. In essence, Studio 54 didn't just influence fashion, it defined it. It showed the world that style was about courage, creativity, and individuality, and it immortalized countless celebrities as true fashion icons of the 1970s. Studio 54 was a place where the unexpected could, and often did, happen. The club's reputation for spontaneity meant that every night was a new adventure, full of surprises, pranks, and unforgettable moments that kept guests talking for years. One night, a famous singer might decide to perform an impromptu mini-concert on the dance floor, turning a regular party into a private show for everyone in attendance. Another evening, a guest could organize a flash mob-style conga line, weaving through the crowd with glitter and confetti in the air, leaving everyone laughing and dancing along. These moments were never planned, yet they became defining features of Studio 54's legendary nights. Celebrity antics added even more excitement. Mick Jagger loved harmless pranks that startled his friends and fellow partygoers, while Grace Jones's daring stunts, leaping onto tables or spontaneously performing dramatic dance moves, kept everyone on their toes. Even the club staff sometimes became part of the spectacle, helping orchestrate surprises or jumping into playful competitions with guests. The atmosphere was one of fearless creativity. Costumes, props, and imaginative entrances transformed the club into a stage where everyone was encouraged to express themselves fully. From glitter bombs to outrageous entrances, every party was a story in itself, unfolding in real time under the dazzling lights and pulsing music. These surprising moments weren't just entertainment, they were part of the Studio 54 legend. They captured the spirit of the 1970s, a decade defined by freedom, boldness, and the celebration of individuality. Guests didn't just attend the club, they became part of a living, breathing spectacle where every night promised a new story to tell. Every legend has an end, and Studio 54 was no exception. By the early 1980s, the club's wild parties, celebrity excesses, and legendary nights began to take their toll. Legal troubles, financial issues, and intense media scrutiny started to catch up with the club. And in 1980, Studio 54 closed its doors as the iconic era came to a dramatic close. But while the doors may have shut, the legend never faded. The stories of glamorous entrances, impromptu performances, glittering fashion, and unforgettable dance floors continue to captivate imaginations decades later. Studio 54 became more than a nightclub. It became a symbol of an era, an emblem of freedom, creativity, and the audacity to live boldly. Its influence can still be felt today. Modern clubs, music videos, fashion shoots, and films pay homage to the Studio 54 spirit. DJs, designers, and performers continue to draw inspiration from the energy and atmosphere that made the club legendary. And for those who experienced it firsthand, the memories remain vivid. Glittering lights, iconic outfits, and moments of pure, unfiltered joy. Studio 54's legacy isn't just about the glitz or the celebrities, it's about a cultural shift. It challenged social norms, celebrated individuality, and created a space where everyone could express themselves freely. The club captured the imagination of a generation and continues to inspire those who dream of a life lived unapologetically and creatively. In the end, Studio 54 reminds us that while nights may end, legends never die. Its story is a testament to the power of music, fashion, and freedom, a legacy that will shine as brightly as the disco ball above the dance floor for generations to come. As we step back from the glittering lights and legendary nights of Studio 54, it's clear that this wasn't just a nightclub. It was a symbol of an era, a playground for creativity, freedom, and unforgettable experiences. From iconic celebrities and daring fashion to spontaneous dance-offs and hilarious pranks, every moment at Studio 54 was larger than life. The club reminds us that nightlife can be more than entertainment. It can be a stage for expression, a catalyst for culture, and a place where memories are made that last a lifetime. Whether it was the energy of the dance floor, the outrageous entrances, or the music that made everyone move, Studio 54 captured the spirit of the 1970s in a way no other place could. We hope this journey back in time has brought a smile to your face, inspired some nostalgia, and maybe even made you wish you could have experienced those unforgettable nights yourself. Studio 54 teaches us that life is best when we dare to be bold, creative, and unapologetically ourselves. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of the most legendary clubs in history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your favorite Studio 54 memories in the comments. Keep dancing, keep dreaming, and let the spirit of the 70s live on.